It's been a minute, my man. I suck. I procrastinate. No, that's me. Whatever. So back to my life. But we're gonna steer a little bit away from my life. I had a recent person who passed away in my life. This man was a great, beautiful man with a beautiful soul. His name was Chris. I hope he doesn't mind. I know I don't use people's names. I try not to, but um, I gotta. Again, I hope he forgives me, and I hope his family doesn't mind. Anyway, so when I first got injured, this guy was an amazing dude. Um, his spirit was just bright. He just chilled and played with everybody. So we were this hospital I went to that I talk about all the time, Shriners. It was not a regular hospital, not to me at least. It was like uh, I don't know how to explain it, like a hotel to me. That people took care of us at, and this guy was a caretaker. He took care of us. He helped the nurses and stuff like that either get us in and out of bed or getting us dressed, things in that aspect. And he got to know everybody. It didn't matter your age, um, gender, size, shape, form. You could have been an alien, I think, and this dude would have just walked up to you and got to know you, and you know what I mean. And if you play games, it's a wrap. He played game, any type of game, PlayStation, Xbox, board games. This dude just found ways to relate and hang out with everybody. Like this is the type of soul and man that he was. And me and him, I got very close to him, and I used to call him pops, and he used to call me son. Throughout my life, I noticed I do that with a lot of people. You know what I mean? I call a lot of girls sisters. I call a lot of a lot of people, family names and stuff like that. I only got one mom though, and I only got one mom, one dad. One mom, one dad. That's a fact. I never called anybody else mom, and I never called anybody else dad. But I do meet people who remind me of those type of figures. You know what I mean? And this man was definitely like a big brother or a father figure. Definitely. And um, so I have a few stories that stick out. Like I come from, a ghetto place where people, tend to gang bang and stuff like that. And so I used to, try to act like that still, wearing certain clothes. Where I'm from, you wear your hat certain ways. My gang specifically, they used to wear their hat to the right. So I used to keep my hat to the right. And this dude would always straighten my hat, always. And it used to get on my nerves. And I used to be like, "Why are you straightening my hat?" And he'd be like, "Because it needs to be straight." And to me, back where I'm from, when my hat was to the right, that was straight to me. You know what I mean? Because that's how I wore my hats because of the gang life. So when it was to the right, that's straight, and when it was straight or anything else, or even to the back right, you know what I mean? That's okay, but straight and back are never to the left back then. You know what I mean? Now I don't wear hats, but anyway, so it would always be to the right, like a goofball, gang banging, no disrespect to the gang members. Don't try to come get me, you know what I mean? I'm saying for me, my opinion, I think it's dumb, you know what I mean? Um, Now that I'm older, I don't know what we were doing, protecting a block that wasn't even ours, that could be demolished at any day. So and then most of us didn't even live there. And what happens when you move away? Are you really going to live there for the rest of your life? Do you really want to live there for the rest of your life? And if you do, again, to each its own. So he would always straighten in my hat. And I remember before I was done being brainwashed. I remember what would happen if my friends would ever come visit. You know what I mean? Because some of my friends were big guys, you know what I mean? And I hung around older guys, older, bigger guys, gangster looking dudes, who weren't scary or who weren't scared and who kind of looked scary. And this one sticks out and I'll never forget. So my friends, they came to visit, like I said, these big guys. And I'm in my room and I'm chilling with these big guys, you know what I mean, big gangster looking dudes, and I'm feeling all some type of way, you know what I mean, because my homies came to visit me and I'm feeling all cool. One of them gave me some DVDs, and because that's all I could do is watch DVDs and movies and stuff like that. And so he walks in my room and the guys are all scattered. It's like 5 or 6 guys, and again, big guys, older guys, like maybe three of them at least were in their 20s, and the other ones were like, from like 17, 19, or whatever the case. And so he walks in, and I have my hat to the right, like I usually do, and I'm like, man, he's not gonna straighten my hat. Yeah, he's not gonna straighten my hat. And when he sees my hat, he goes, "What did I tell you about having your hat, a certain way?" And I was like, "Bro, it's good. You know what I mean? I always tell you it's good, and it is good." And he goes, "No, it's not." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And sure enough, he comes and he straightens it. And when he straightens it, I was like, "Bro, what are you doing?" I was like, "Don't straighten my hat." And then that's when he goes, "No, your hat needs to be straight, and straight, you know what I mean, is this way." And I look at my boys, and of course, I didn't want them to do nothing. I don't want to get kicked out of this hospital, and I respect that man so much. He was like a dad, but I'm just, and I don't, where I'm from, if people know you respect this person, and this person is like like a father or something to you, as long as they're not disrespecting the game too bad. And it's an environment like that. I don't know about now, but at least back then, when and it's an environment like I was in, you know what I mean? There was just, they're like, "Hey man, that's between you and and your, the dude that you called father, or big brother, you know what I mean, or pops or whatever. Like, that's between y'all." And we respect that, you know what I mean. So when they gave me that look, I was like, "Oh wow," like, you know what I mean. This dude, wow. Oh, just things like that, you know what I mean. He didn't play. Another thing, I remember one time it was my birthday or something like that. It was a holiday or my birthday or one of the things. And I remember, man, you know what I mean? Now that I'm older, I regret. Um, the hospital had great food, man. They had really good food. And you know what I mean? Most kids are like, "Oh, I'm tired of hospital food." I mean, it was, you know what I mean, repetitive. You know what I mean? Some, like, like it's gonna be a rotation. Like, they always said different things. Don't get me wrong, but at some point the rotation is gonna come back, if that makes sense. But again, the food was delicious. Now that I'm older, you don't know how bad I wish I can go back. Like, not to steer off topic, but they had this catfish that was so good, and I could never find catfish that tastes like their catfish. And one day, my mom went to Red Lobster, and I'm telling you, I live in, you know what I mean, a decent big state now, and I mean, the food isn't good here, but anyways, so I I ate a lot of different places. I ate a lot of different people's catfish, and I can never find catfish unless they didn't even make catfish. It was a different type of fish, but I'm pretty sure it was catfish. Um, One day my mom went to Red Lobster, man. She rests in peace. And one day she went to Red Lobster and she came back and she had some catfish and she asked if I wanted some, and I ate some, and it tastes just like Shriners. And I was like, "Oh, I finally found the catfish." And then I was mind blown, like, "Yo, were they feeding us Red Lobster catfish?" Anyways, you know what I mean? Around the holiday or on the holiday or my birthday, one of the, I can't remember. I was like, "Yo, pops, I was like, you call me son, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, feed your son then. I was just kidding. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those people. I try not to be. I hope I'm not. I don't like handouts, and you know what I mean. I'm not the type of person to expect things for people on holiday. I don't celebrate holidays, but on my birthday or stuff like that. Most people. So especially if you're not related to me, you know what I mean. So I remember I asked him. I said, "Birthday, like, what are you feeding me?" And he was like, "What? Like, you want me to feed you?" And I was like, "Yeah, pops, feed me." And sure enough, I I don't know if I told him. I think I did. I had to, and I think I joked and was like, "Yeah, pops, whatever I wanted that day because I would never forget." Um, I Around dinner time. Thank goodness I didn't order that day. Because some days you would order stuff at this hospital, but and you could get outside food and they'll bring it into you, whatever the case is. So I remember he somebody told me not to eat dinner. They were like, "Hey, somebody's bringing you dinner," you know what I mean, or something like that. I remember they let me know, and I remember they were like, "Go out into the cafeteria, and it's gonna be brought out to you or whatever." So I go out to the cafeteria, which was like a mall area. They call it the mall in the Shriners, because I say it like a regular hospital. And they had this area called the mall that people used to come and hang out at and eat. And they had a basketball court a little bit out, you know what I mean, away from the tables. So you know what I mean. It's crazy. You got to Google it. It's called Shriners Chicago, and you could probably even look up the mall. And so I'm sitting out there and I'm hanging out, I'm chilling and I'm waiting. And then he had a specific walk. I don't know if yeah, but he had a specific walk. So I see him walk and he has a bag in his hand in a container, you know what I mean? The styrofoam containers or whatever. And I see it and I see a bag. And I was like, no way. And he sets it down. And he has one too. He has a bag. And so he sits down and he goes, "Here you go, son." And I was like, "No way, pops! You really got me this food. You really got me. You know what I mean? I was just joking. You didn't have to do that." And he was like, "No, no worry. You know what I mean? Like, I got you." And man, oh, I wanted to cry so bad. And that's just an idea again of who he is. And another one that kind of sticks out to me. So there was this, like I said, he used to play with everybody. And I'll never forget. I think I already told this story, but I gotta explain that he was the one. So I don't like playing games. You know what I mean? My hands are a certain way, and my fingers don't move at all. So I can't play video game. I don't want to play video games. I get discouraged easily. I give up easily. And there was this kid who would play video games, and the hospital would always tell me like, "I don't know why you don't try. I don't know why you could." And there was a couple of games that I was able to play so far, like, and unless I had to do certain things, and I'll just pass the remote to my homie, and then when he would do what I couldn't, he would pass it back, and I'll do what I can. And but besides that, I remember they were telling me like, there's this kid that could barely move his arms, his hands, and he just be whooping everybody in the games, and you wouldn't even try, and like, how do you say it's an excuse when that kid doesn't look at it as that? And I remember the kid came, and they were like, "You want to go see him play?" And I was like, of course, like, yeah. And I didn't believe them. And I knew that that would be very encouraging and inspiring to see, you know what I mean? Like, man, God be with these kids. But anyways, but to see a kid, who could barely move and just not let that stop him and just be whooping butt. And yeah, I go into the therapy room and I hear somebody like, hooping and hollering, and he's upset, because he was very competitive. I don't think he really let people win. And if he did, he didn't show it, because I go in there and he's like, he's mad, he's really upset. And he's all like, and I'm like, man, who's whooping him? Because I can't see yet. I just see him standing up playing the game and the TV's in front of me. So I get to the mat and they put me on the mat. And when they put me on the mat, I can see who's in front of the TV on the mat, on that, where the TV's in front of. So when I can see behind the TV, it's this little kid. And I'm like, bro, and the little kid was like maybe 9. I don't know, the oldest. And I'm like, are you really yelling at this kid, bro? Or he wasn't yelling at the kid, but like, are you really letting this kid get you upset? Like, what's going on? And he's like, I'm losing. Like, shut up. You don't know what, like, and I don't know if it was a fighting game or what, but this little kid was like, oh man, he was whooping it. And yeah, and not only so another thing, I'm pretty sure I had this rec therapist who never gave up on me, and I was, an angry kid, when I first got in there. And this is gonna lead back to my pops and my mom. She had the biggest crush on him. Oh my god, it was so annoying. So and that's what made it even more funnier that I called him pops, because anyways. So um I remember this man, he taught me how to play chess. And I remember I felt like a boss playing chess, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of a mind game. So I remember I felt smart playing it. And anyways, and I remember my pops, he knew how to play it very, very, very well. And so that's another thing, man. Like, he would always take the time to play me in the game, like at least once a week. You know what I mean? Because he knew I loved playing it so much. So, and I only played 3 people in the hospital. You know what I mean? Because not everybody knows how to play chess. And there was like 3 people who was really, 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 really good at it in this hospital. You know what I mean? One was my rec therapist who taught me. The other one was my pops, and the other one was this other nurse, a male nurse. And you don't know how much I used to love playing them. All at different times, on their own time. Uh, and then you don't know how much I used to love when they used to play each other. You know what I mean? Especially with my pops and the nurse used to play each other because um, they were really, really good at it. So to see them play, I used to be like, who's gonna win today? Who's gonna win today? And it was always back and forth because they were both really good at it. And sometimes they even played fast chess, and I'm not really good at speed chess. So that's another thing that would always stick out. Oh, and this man, so there was a few nurses, there was a few help, the people that helped the nurses. So he's one of the people that helped the nurses. And I remember he so once the night shift isn't as bad as the day shift. You know what I mean? I'll give it to the day shift. The Because there's 3 shifts back in my day for Shriners. The 3 to you know what I mean? There was a morning shift, an afternoon shift, and a graveyard shift. Like most jobs. So he was let's say the afternoon shift, and the afternoon shift isn't as bad. Don't get mad at me, y'all. But at least back in my day, the afternoon shift wasn't as bad to me as the morning shift, because the morning shift, um, they have to get us ready. They have to give us showers. and then get us ready for therapy on time. And most of us have back to back same time. So you know what I mean. Imagine you got like 10 patients to get up, and they all got therapy at 9 10 a.m. So you got, you know what I mean, and you only got a handful of people to help. So you know what I mean. The morning shift I feel like was hectic compared to, again, the night shift. You know what I mean? The night shift, they're just putting people to bed. Most people like taking showers in the morning. Like I'd like taking showers in the morning. I'm sorry. So some of the kids though, they like work with the patient. They work with the nurses and be like, I'll take showers at night, but not. I'm sorry, may God forgive me. I was so spoiled and a brat, and I'm like, bro, if y'all want me to do this, I'm doing showers in the morning. I don't care. Like, I was so spoiled, man. Like, I need to get into more stories about me in the hospital, but to finish it, um, man, please don't tell me I lost my topic. But oh yeah, so he used to always come, and we used to love what. Oh, I did, and I don't know if it was because it got him away from work, but once he was done with most of his work, oh man, that man was so hard to find because he would be either in this person's room playing games, and if it wasn't playing games, he was for sure watching movies with us. You know what I mean? Because again, they don't. And then when they know how to find him. And they would page him if they need him. And it's not like he didn't do his job and was a great worker. Like I said, you could ask any of his coworkers; they all loved him the same way the patients loved this man because he was just a beautiful man. You know what I mean? He wasn't. He didn't. The same way he was with the patients, he was with his coworkers. The same way he had the patients back, he had his coworkers back. Like it was just his soul. It was just a spirit from as far as I saw it with this guy. And man, I'll never forget. I used to again love, laying in bed and when he would come in and especially when I would just start one, you know what I mean? Because he would stay for the majority of the movie. Again, it's there's nothing, especially when there was nothing to do. You know what I mean? And then that's how yeah, he did like watching it. Because if he would get into it, and I loved it, you know what I mean? Because I love when I'm a movie person, I'm a show person, you know what I mean? So I didn't have much. I don't mean to make excuses, but when I was paralyzed, I couldn't really go out and do much. And even before my accident, that was a comfort thing for me and my mom. Is to watch a good movie and to watch a good show. So when I'll be laying there in bed, you know what I mean, I'll put on a movie, and thank God that my family would bring me movies and people would bring me movies, and I'll just throw it on. And that's how I know when he was really into it, because if he would have to go help and he got called or whatever, he'd be like, "Yo, pause it," and wait for me, you know what I mean? And I'll pause it and he'll come back and we'll watch it. And you know what I mean? It was just stuff like that. And I'll never forget, like, if I was mad and I was going off on people, you know what I mean? There was people I respected, and thank God my mom raised me correctly to where, because I always say I feel like my mom did the most best job in my eyes, and everything I do wrong is from me and not from her, not from what I learned from her, because she taught me right. And when she would do wrong, she would tell me that it's whatever she was doing is wrong. Like when she was, drinking, don't be a dummy, don't drink. You know what I mean? Don't be a dumb alcoholic like your mother and your father. When she was being a strong woman with men, she would let me know, like, this is what a strong, independent woman looks like. And when she would fall weak, you know what I mean? And would get obsessed over a man who doesn't have nothing to offer, she would even tell me, like, this is what a dumb woman looks like. You know what I mean? Don't go with a dumb woman. Go with a strong woman. You know what I mean? I'm being dumb right now because I'm in love with him. You know what I mean? And sometimes she would fall in love with a man for this reason, that reason, and this reason. Then I learned that too, that women could fall in love for sexual reasons. Women could fall in love for financial reasons. My mom never used people, in my eyes. You know what I mean? And the people that would help her were, I was like, you guys want to get used. You know what I mean? And again, she didn't really use them. Like they would beg and beg, like, let me help you, let me help you. And if I was hungry that day, my mom will be like, especially if I'm asking for that food and my mom doesn't have it, I'll be like, Mom, can I get some KFC today? And my mom will look in her purse and didn't have it. And that dude's begging her that day, like, can I help you? What can I do for you? Can I buy you beer? Can I buy you this? Buy my son some. He said he wants some KFC. Can you get him that? Yeah, yeah, and you know what I mean, stuff like that. And so, yeah, man, my pops, this dude, man, he was a great man, and may he rest in peace. And I need to get back to my stories and get into with you guys, and I hope people are watching and listening. And again, I'm doing this to because I feel like my story is crazy and deep. I went from the ghetto. I went from being shot all the way paralyzed, not able to move at all. You know what I mean? Laying like this, tube in my throat, tube in my side that I didn't even know was there. You know what I mean? Until they come in one day, we're gonna pull this out. I'm pretty sure I told that story, and you know what I mean. And to go from not being able to move at all to being able to, and then being told you're never gonna get off the ventilator, you're never gonna be able to move, and now I can move my arms. I'm talking. You know what I mean? I'm living in another state. I never thought that was possible. I never thought it was possible to be independent at all. You know what I mean? And I'm not fully independent. I have people that get me up and lay me down, but once they do that, I'm out. And I go get myself my food, and thank you God, I had surgeries. You know what I mean, to move my fingers somewhat. And I'm gonna end it here again. I only do this because if I can help one person, that's what I'm doing. If I can help a million people, oh my gosh. Um, and and that would help me because I don't know. I just love telling my story and watching people like what and helping people and walking, non-walking, uh, religious, non-religious. Um, I just want to help. You know what I mean? Just want to help. This is a crazy world right now. It's always been crazy. You know what I mean? There's a lot of darkness out there. So I think it was Anne Frank who said it, or somebody in her circle who said, and I'm gonna end it after I say that. Uh, a little candle, a little light, could lead you through a dark room. You know what I mean? A little candle could guide you through a dark room. And when I heard that, I was like, if I could be that little light for somebody, you know what I mean? For anybody, for everybody, please God, you know what I mean? So yeah, take care, people. I'm sorry I've been procrastinating, and I'll be back hopefully soon within this week. You know what I mean?